Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is going to be for The Sopranos, Season 3, Episode 4, Employee of the Month. And if you haven't joined us for one of these, basically we're going to be watching the episode live, reacting to it, treating it like a live recap, commentary, breakdown, thingamahoochie. So if you want to watch the episode, this will give you time. We'll do a little bit of an intro here. Find it, whether it be on Amazon, HBO Go, or your DVDs, whatever. The episode we're watching tonight is Season 3, Episode 4. So, yeah, and I'm not alone here on these Soprano recap things. I also have with me my co-host, Matt. How's it going, Matt?
Good. Cold up here again in Vermont, but yeah, that's it. That's all we got. That's what it's been for 3 months up here. So
yeah, yesterday was our crazy cold day, but today we were a little bit warmer, where it's a little bit unseasonably warm here in Massachusetts. But this is, I don't know, I'm stalling with anything because I don't want to say anything like, oh, this is a good episode of The Sopranos. This is an Emmy Award-winning episode of The Sopranos. Lorraine Bracco also was nominated for an Emmy for this particular episode. Funny enough, she lost out to Edie Falco. I'm not sure which episode Edie Falco won it for, but this is an excellently acted episode and creates probably one of the first moments in The Sopranos where David Chase starts messing with your expectations. And I'm going to read a quote in a second here, but this episode will come down to this question, really. I'm going to put it up on the screen right here. Did you want her to tell him? Did you want Melfi to tell Tony what happens to her? And we'll break this down all throughout this episode, but that's kind of a question I want everyone in the chat. I don't think there's a no answer to this. I think most people watching it at the time that I remember hearing about this particular episode, everyone wanted Tony to destroy this guy. They set this episode up so perfect for that. But if you guys want to get your thoughts in, you can call and leave a voicemail tonight at 781-990-8509. And you can call that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So whenever you're listening or watching this, you can call that number and ask us a question about The Sopranos or any other show you might be watching. And also, we're not alone tonight, Matt. We've got with us the live motherfucking chat. We got Killmonger Percy Garcia in the chat right now. We got other people that will be popping in and out throughout the night. We also got Pete Griffin in there, and I think Jay is circling about as well. Thank you guys for joining us tonight to talk about this episode. Right away, Killmonger says she should have told him. Percy Garcia says, never watched The Sopranos, but I'm here chilling with y'all. Very much appreciate that.
Percy, you came in on a hell of an episode to just not have watched The Sopranos on.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, for anyone there who maybe doesn't know what the episode's about, but has watched The Sopranos, I want to give a little, of all the things that happened in The Sopranos throughout the course of the 6.5 seasons, whatever you want to call it, like, this is by far the most disturbing thing I think that happens. I'd rather watch Adriana get killed a dozen times than this. It's like a painful thing to watch. So we're going to try to treat it delicately. I think it's like, we're two like old out of touch guys trying to talk about this scene that's like a real intense thing, but it's you learn so much about her in this. All her daddy issues, all that stuff that you didn't know about before this.
Yeah.
The most insight we get into her by a lot.
Absolutely. And also, I think the way that we're going to be kind of exploring this is around that way of, I wouldn't say living through it, but living through that, wanting to punish somebody that could do something this horrible, and also focus around like the acting performances of it, because it is played, and this sets up a series of, we're talking about a little bit about this before the episode started. This sets up a series of 3 episodes that I can think of in a row. There might be another one afterwards, but these 3 is almost like David Chase wanting to be like, don't forget what kind of people these people are. Don't forget, and I know this is different with Melfi, it's a completely different situation, but even with the violence that they want to show on this show, if you're watching this show, if you're going to love these characters, there is a price you need to pay watching this show. We're going to challenge you with stuff that other shows won't show you in such graphic nature. And in these 3 episodes, we see what happens to Melfi in this episode. The next episode, we see a man dying of cancer, murder another guy, and go out on top, like in a really graphic, over the top action scene, but it's still like really personal. And then the episode after that, we see basically a young lady the same age as Meadow get beat to death by the dude from the Matrix. So it's a fucked up kind of price you pay to watch and enjoy The Sopranos, because they're gonna make you see some shit, and that's one of the things I like about this show.
I will say though that if she had told him in this episode,
Yes.
it would have been one of the actions. It would have been one of the acts of violence that was totally justified.
Right, but
Totally justified.
but wouldn't you also?
As is the next episode. The one with
Yeah.
no, the one with Ralphie is inexcusable. Obviously, that's maybe the most callous murder that happens in this entire show is Ralphie.
Yes, and you don't really get the revenge of that till the Pyomai situation, where there is some closure with that, where Tony sees that. I think if she had told him though, it's hard for me to imagine the character of Jennifer Melfi coming back from that. I think she loses the high ground in the therapy situation. She becomes you would go a completely different storyline with her, where she would probably lose her shit, become an alcoholic quicker, because they do go there eventually with her, have her just be completely manipulated and dependent on Tony in some ways. I feel like from a narrative standpoint, and I want to read a quote, and then please respond to this quote. Kurt Sutter went even farther. Yes, he did further. Yes, he did Killmonger. But this is one of those things where Zeppelin went further, but the Beatles did it first, so you got to give them credit. And so The Sopranos set the standard for this shit. So you would get Breaking Bad, where they melt a body in a thing of acid, or you would get some of the shit that happens on Sons of Anarchy with what Gemma does, or that scene with Gemma and Tara at the end. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but how graphically horrible that scene is. You don't get that if you don't get David Chase making quotes like this, and this is why he does it. David Chase's quote about basically this topic: if you were raised on a steady diet of Hollywood movies and network television, you start to think, obviously there's going to be some moral accounting here. That's not the way the world works. It all comes down to, why are you watching? If all you want to see is Big Tony Soprano take that guy's head and bang it against a wall like a cantaloupe. The point is, Melfi, despite pain and suffering, made her moral, ethical choice, and we should applaud her for it. That's the story. And I think that's a David Chase talking to you kids, telling you kids, you're watching my show and I don't like it. You're bad kids for watching my show. What do you think of that quote just in general, Matt?
I mean, at the end of the day, almost all the characters in this act on some sort of set of principles. And I think you said it, actually, is that if she had actually gone through with it, there's no way that she lives with the fact that, because Tony would kill her. There wouldn't be like there's no, like, that guy would be killed.
He'd do it himself. I would think he would do it himself.
That's something he might do it himself. Yeah. And there's a weird part of her, and you learn this throughout the episode, that would love that. Just the whole thing of him, of having a protector. You find that out in this episode, that's her whole thing with her husband, when they're showing his hands and how they're not strong, and how she knows immediately, like, yeah, that's not really the person that protect me here.
And to Percy in the live chat, melt a body in a vat of acid, which, not this show particularly, that's Breaking Bad. And if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, or The Sopranos really, but Breaking Bad, I highly recommend shutting off this shit show right here and turning on episode 1 right now, and don't look back.
Get through the first season. The first season of Breaking Bad's
slower.
You won't get the hype of why it's that good.
No, you don't start to get that. It's one of those creepy things like Costanza. Like, you don't realize it till you're halfway through season 2, and you can't stop it, and it's really addicting. It's not something like The Sopranos, for instance, where and this is my impression of it, The Sopranos, right from the pilot. The pilot is a very fine, even though it doesn't match up with, if you start getting into historical accounts, or if something they call Tony the boss in the pilot, where he's really the underboss in episode 2, like stupid shit like that. But like, I just mean from a produced pilot, you watch that and you're like, you are in. Breaking Bad, it sneaks up on you a little bit, for me anyways. I watched it from the first night it aired, but again, hey, Muhammad, I literally just did. I will turn the technical difficulties sign on in a moment here. Here you go, Muhammad. Thank you so much for checking it out. Percy, Killmonger, Jay, Excuse me, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Absolutely. If you haven't and you're watching right now, please hit that like button. It helps get this video out to more people so more people can join the motherfucking chat right now and join the discussion. So thank you guys all. Jay left a voicemail. Do you mean the voicemail you left for the Walking Dead thing yesterday? I texted you back. I changed the voicemail greeting, and I will play your message on the Walking Dead cast on Sunday. Now, Percy says, I haven't watched Breaking Bad either, but everyone tells me you need to. I absolutely, you do need to. I don't need to. I mean, I think you'll enjoy it. Killmonger said Tony might have killed Melfi if she told and killed the guy she witnessed. Yeah, Killmonger. I'm paraphrasing just because I can't read tonight. Absolutely. That's another aspect of it. And if Tony might have had to kill her eventually, because that it might have led to that point, because is she, with her moral high ground and actually being someone that goes to therapy and deals with situations, is she going to be able to not come to a point eventually where she says to Tony, I need to tell the cops what happened. I know you killed him.
And if she doesn't tell the cops, at some point she is going to have to tell someone. And
She's going to tell Elliot. She's going to tell Elliot.
Richard or Elliot, and either one of them, both of those two immediately go to the cops, because they're going to wash their hands of it, you know.
Elliot maybe could function, but I think Elliot is more, you get the vibe that Elliot is a little bit more by the book of a psychologist than Melfi is. And if she reported a crime to him, he would go to the authorities in the way that Tony kind of reports crimes to her, and she never even questions the idea of really going to any authority. And that's because she was in Goodfellas, of course. So
I have one little bone to pick with this episode, then I'm not going to keep us any longer, is that I don't like when the Sopranos sometimes tries to get, like, when they try to get preachy a little bit, meaning the Columbus Day episode.
Yeah, that is your least favorite episode.
Yeah, and this gets similar to that with the way Richard's going off about Italian Americans a little bit with his whole thoughts on
Do you know what that's about, though? That is about all the Italian. It's getting a little context, and thank you, Talking Sopranos podcast. The context for that is that the Sopranos at the time, after 2 seasons on TV, were getting the ire of those same organizations. And when he's talking about some Channel 5 sitcom show that came on, some mafia, blah, blah, it's basically just David Chase bitching or through his show about these organizations that are trashing him and making this character douchey because of it.
Right.
Walking David, great to see Walking David in the live chat. Good to see you tonight, buddy. What you going? What you happening? What you talking about? Okay, so let's get into watching this particular episode right now. What'd you hear? What'd you say? Now, one more time. This is season. And I also
episode 4.
Season 3, episode 4. I also want to say a very special hello to Phyllis, who hopefully is out there listening, who can't always participate in the chat, but look, I'm going to be looking out for her comments tonight if she happens to be watching. Thank you for your support, Phyllis. We do very much appreciate it, as we do everyone in the live chat. Toasts to Muhammad. I just hope you toasted a puff as well right there. Love you, David. Love you, Killmonger. Jay, all of you guys. So here we are. Season 3, episode 4 of The Sopranos. Let me make sure my volume is up. We're gonna do our.
We go 1, 2, 3, and then hit play. So anyone wants to join us, it's 1, 2, 3, then hit play.
Or is it 3, 2? Wait. I'm always asking too many questions at this part. Isn't it 3, 2, 1 play?
As long as we don't go on the 1 or the 3, as long as you go on the 4th count, we're good. It doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm thinking. Oh, or I could.
You can go 8, 9, 10. You can go 8, 9, 10 play. You can do it if you want to.
I could also do like a. And then we play. That would be too difficult. That would be.
Yeah. When do we know? When is it time to go?
That's true. And then the hardest part of that would be because I would do it a certain amount of beats or something. But I think the most difficult part of that would be dropping the drum and then pushing play.
Right. You're not coordinated enough. For that.
No, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely. You've known me too long to know that I will somehow hurt myself really bad if I try to do that. I will. Yep. I'll end up with a big bump on my head. It's freaking. It's freaking ridiculous. Okay, so we're going to do 3, 2, 1, and then play if you want to watch this with us. If you don't want to watch it with us, you'll be able to hear some of the audio through the stream, and we'll be giving reference or talking about things that have nothing to do with what's happening on the screen. So either way, we will get some context to what's going on. Are you ready, Matt?
I am ready.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, mine hesitated a little bit. I feel like I want to do that again.
All right, I'm going back to the beginning.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. We're going back to the beginning because I
give everyone, if anyone was doing it with us, give them all a chance.
Yeah, here we go. Sorry about that. I felt like my phone paused too much. Did you hear that pause? Like I pushed play, but
mine did the opening, and then I was waiting.
You're lucky. You're lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. There we go. Okay, I feel much better about that. So here we go. Our open for the Sopranos. Please, do you usually skip theme songs at the beginning of episodes?
No, I don't actually.
No, never. So
I don't. I mean, sometimes I do, but it's honestly such a pain to try to sync it up because I have like an old Roku I watch stuff on, and it's not worth it. I'd rather just sit through this.
Yeah, no.
Plus, to me, after the HBO opening, this is still the soundtrack. No matter how many other shows I may have watched years since then, this is still the soundtrack I'm waiting to hear.
This is usually what I'm waiting to hear. Game of Thrones definitely made a dent in that. And I will also say the other song I sometimes expect to hear when I hear the HBO thing, especially if I'm thinking in a different headspace, is the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme song. Like,
sure.
Like dun 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 dun. Like I hear that in my head too. But you're right. Like The Sopranos is huge, and in that sense of this theme song is one I definitely never skip. There's certain ones I skip when you hear them too much. They get really hard to go through. The Orange is the New Black, I skip that after a while. Like. Because it's so loud compared to everything else in the other show. So when it kicks in after the last episode, you have the volume set right, and it will like scream in. So I don't stop because I'm sick of hearing the song. I'm stopped because it's just way too. Because you guys are just way too loud.
It's an intense, loud song.
Yeah.
In general. By the way, I screwed this up because I turned on closed captions because I couldn't hear you perfectly. So I'm behind you now.
Perfect.
No, now I got to catch up.
Okay. The phone is ringing. Okay, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is she thinking? So Arena's calling Tony. Like, Carmela could have answered the phone right there.
She doesn't care.
Would she have hung up if Carmela answered?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't think she cares that much.
No, she doesn't care at this point. Isn't she married? Didn't she say that last
No,
episode?
she's getting married. And this is what I'm not sure. If she's marrying Zellman, because later we see her with Zellman, or if the marriage doesn't work out and then she gets with Zellman.
Yeah, I think that's what happens because Zellman's still on good terms with him right now.
With Tony, yeah, but he might be on good terms because he just hasn't told him yet. Like, and that gets put off. But I believe that's the beginning of season 4.
Didn't you see my favorite patient today?
So we get that intro scene where we get a little continuation to the League part of the episode, which I hate to say I hate to say I love the scene with Janice getting confronted about the leg. It's
oh yeah.
It's the only sweet justice in the whole series that Janice ever really gets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the end. It's not really justice, but she does
lose the best thing that happened to her essentially with Bobby. So here we go with this side story. The beginning of this episode is interesting. Like, we've never met him before, but this is Melfi's husband,
ex-husband
that they're trying again, which is, not real. I'm bitter. Sorry. I'm like bitter recent divorcee. I'm like, this shit doesn't happen. So yeah, it's setting up. But who would ever confuse this guy as being a thug? But this is a thing that was more, I'd say, in the 70s and 80s than it is considered now. This perspective that every Italian is mob connected.
I don't think that's necessarily more in this. I think that still went on through the 80s, through the
No, I said
90s.
70s. I said 70s and 80s. I would say the 90s and 2000s it got a little less because I guess maybe the 90s too. But it's not really a thing now, is it? Do people really still associate? It's more they associate it with like Jersey Shore guys, like Italians are like Guidos and fucking tan. Like they don't necessarily be like, oh, they're fucking gangsters. At least I don't think that's the
Well, it
perspective.
depends where they are. I mean, I don't think around where you and I are from they do.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
All right, now hold on. I'm trying to keep up here and see where we are exactly.
Okay, Melfi and Tony are in.
No, I'm there. I got to hear it. Hold
Any
on.
feelings of anxiety or memories of past anxiety attacks?
Yeah, my parents in the postal. I know. Yeah, that was.
I'm good. I'm like in that scene. I just don't know
Perfect.
exactly where it is.
So this goes to the point where Melfi do you think she would have pushed Tony to try to take this more seriously in this situation if her husband wasn't pushing her to drop him as a client?
I think she's been realizing for a while it's not the right thing. She's brought up to him in the past
We've
that
gone months without them before. The conflicts that caused them.
I mean, I think she's just been wrestling with it nonstop. Like how much she knows already, how much she's almost. At what point is she
Are you happy?
not culpable legally, but like is she assisting this? You know?
Right, is she helping him be a better... It's where she ends up in the end of the series. This is sort of the start of her arc to where it concludes, where she decides she can't work with him anymore.
I'll bring it next week.
The thing is, last episode they had the huge breakthrough. That was the big breakthrough. Was the Gabagol, but like
It doesn't matter to him.
How to think about bringing
Right.
your wife
Is he-
into this?
Does he give a shit about really getting better, or does he just want the
Wanted to
panic
take a
attacks to
more
stop?
Proactive approach.
That's
one
not
more
the
time.
future.
Sorry, I'm trying to sync this up. What'd you say?
Does he give a shit about getting better, or does he just want the panic attacks to stop?
But you're not trying.
He just wants the panic attacks to stop because he's not going to put the work in to get better. He's. I mean, this goes on like the very first season. He's in the hospital after a panic attack, and he just wants the miracle cure. Like, what can I get to make me just to make this end? That's all he cares about. He doesn't want to have all the shit dragged up. He feels weak the whole time. He has to talk about his mother and shit.
I mean, he's in football now, right? But come
And that's why he's doing this thing where he's like bashing it off of himself and talking about AJ. And we get this
Right.
we get this fade, which is interesting for the Sopranos to do a fade there.
I've been charmed by a sociopath.
Right there. I've been charmed by a sociopath.
Yeah, because she realizes he wants to take no accountability for his actions.
Oh, I am Muhammad.
Place. If you think about my life, it's so textbook.
By the way, Phil, we are perfectly synced up.
My senior. Of course, Richard's going to be protective and patriarchal.
So see, this is the important thing here. We realized that she knew dating someone 10 years later, he would be patriarchal and protective. So that is obviously something she's into, whether she admits it or not.
I always thought it was that other guy in the news.
And this is where
Oh, and yeah, she blurts out that it was Tony
Tony Soprano.
I can't believe I revealed this.
So that's how secretive she has been with it, is that she hasn't told Elliot up to this point who it is. I assumed that they knew. The people that knew she was treating a mafia person, I assume they knew it was Tony Soprano, but I guess she had never told them.
No, she never actually said the name, but like she had to have done that for a reason right there. She wanted to say it was Tony Soprano. And it goes to what Elliot says to her. Is it what he says to her right here or later, where he basically calls her and says, is part of the reason why you want to stay there is because you feel more important to be with someone that's partially famous. Like you're treating a
Right. If it was just a
semi-celebrity.
regular, what does he call him, a button
Button
guy?
man.
No,
Yeah,
it's-
yeah, button man.
yes. Yeah.
And she's like, stop with the terminology there, Elliot. Walking David says, yes, Melfi's story arc about her coming to grips with who Tony really is, I'm going to talk about this in a second, a psychopath who's playing her is nearly completed multiple times, but I think they just wanted to happen in the last season. And they kept having reasons why she would stop. Tony got a divorce.
Yeah, I mean, we learn a reason today why she stopped.
Right, she stopped because she feels safe. She feels safe having him close, as just to know that she has him right there.
Dude, friggin' Janice.
Yeah, and yeah, here we go to Janice, who's in the fucking basement looking for the lost Dutchman's gold, as Tony
She's
says.
so full of it.
Why'd you change the locks?
Fucking Janice. Don't fuck with the Russians, Janice.
The Russians, Janice.
I love that line. Don't fuck with... Because Tony...
Well, Go ahead.
Because Tony knows that where this is ending. This ends with him having to do something.
At my house.
Yes, and you know, that's the parallel to, like, Melfi can't...
I can't have it.
Melfi also cannot tell him
Give back the leg.
Tony, those records are yours
what happened
too.
to her and say, don't do anything about it.
No.
even though he doesn't have to save face in any sense of the word. It's not like here where like his sister gets beat up, he has to do something about it because people know his sister got beat up. No one would have to know that Melfi told him not to, but he would still feel that it was somehow something against him that he needed to avenge.
Yes.
It's still a slight to him somehow that his therapist got violated.
Yep. And he would just... The Lost Dutchman's cold. So this all stems from a moment in, I believe it's season 2, where Olivia makes a comment to Janice, almost just to fuck with her, to say, yeah, I have money buried in the house. There's no money buried in the house. There's no fucking money buried in that house. Or maybe Olivia is gonna die without saying who it is, saying where it is. So Ralphie is here with Jackie Jerkoff here, and Jackie Jerkoff is checking out, I forget this whole part of the storyline. He's checking out Adriana, and then Ralphie turns this around to try to be like, Meadows hot or whatever. And we hear that this is set up by Matt's dog, Rosie Aprile, to try to bond the guy she's dating to with her kid. And Ralphie, in a weird fucking way, does whatever he can to bond with this kid. He tries going out to dinner with him, and then he decides to go beat the shit out of a guy he can beat the shit out of for no apparent reason, really. Just to kind of show the guy he's cool. Show Jackie Jr. he's cool. Is that why Ralphie's doing all this?
I really... I don't know why he does it. There's really no reason for it, because he's trying to get in good with Tony. Or in theory, he's trying to get in good with Tony. And he knows that Tony doesn't want Jackie doing any of that stuff.
No, I guess it would be, yeah, but I think in this moment it's more important to Ralphie in every situation to be the coolest guy or be the whatever guy, and
right.
And also he's thinking his way into Tony is through Rosie, and having her as his partner gets him into all the parties because Rosie and Carmela are best friends and blah 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 blah. So I think he's thinking about Prime is also satisfying her and keeping her happy, and also Tony will thank me.
But this isn't making him happy. This isn't making her happy whatsoever.
No, but it bonds them. She doesn't want to know the details.
Sure.
And also the thing with Tony, I think Ralphie actually legitimately thinks if he toughens this kid up, Tony will appreciate him for it. And the argument that they have later, where I don't think Christopher and Ralphie quite get why Tony doesn't want Jackie Jr. in the business. Like, I think they can both see he's a shithead, but so is Paulie Jr. You know, like there are other shitheads in the. I mean, he's a nice shithead, but you know, he's stupid. So, like, especially when Christopher's like, no cowboy shit. You'd be surprised. Jackie Jr., no cowboy shit. It wasn't like those other two shitheads we had, the Belvawakwa kid, whatever. Jackie Jr. actually, you know, he followed the rules. He pissed his pants, but that's normal. Whatever. Like, I think they're trying to connect to Tony by saying, look, we're taking Jackie under our wing. So I think Ralphie's doing this to partially because he thinks Tony.
Can you agree that Tony wants no part of that?
No
Tony
part.
Legitimately wants the kid to go to college.
No part of this.
It's not even because he's dumb. He just wants the same reason he wants AJ and Meadow to not have any.
He's not cut out for it. I think with Jackie, I think if Jackie was really capable, you know, I think he'd feel different. But Jackie is a Stugast like fucking AJ.
Well, yeah, and Jackie would have had to have been capable from a younger age than this. You see when the kids are 12. Like, I'm sure Christopher was like that when he was a kid. You know, and Tony was, as we'll find out in the movie eventually. Yeah,
probably. Like they have a predisposition to it. So I think this would be akin to if you were a teenager when your stepdad came in and he's taking you out for a beer to show you he's cool, but while because your mom's like go out with I don't want to say his name, but go out with him and like hang out with him and like get to know him. And like he's like, you know, I'm cool, and takes you to the bar where he's like a cool guy and shows you and has you have your first beer. You know, I think that's what Ralphie's trying.
But the difference is she knows who the hell Richie Aprile is. It's not like he's a nice guy. She knows he's a piece of shit.
But does she?
By the way, Ginny Sack might be the worst actress in the whole movie.
Do you know that Ginny Sack comes from a cattle call audition that they had? A, she's wearing a fat suit, for people that don't know that. B, she was. They did one of those open calls in New Jersey for people to get on The Sopranos, like something like thousands of people showed up. The police had to come and shut it down, so only like 2,000 people or something were able, or a few thousand were able to be seen. And out of all the people they saw, she was the only one that they cast. And yeah, so she comes from an open call.
Which blows my mind because she's a terrible actress. As most of the wives are. Like, obviously Still's wife is, but that's his wife in real life. So.
Yeah, Rosie's the best. Rosie and Carmela are both good actresses. And Artie Bucco's wife. Charmaine's awesome. Walking David says, it's always ends in ways that will lighten Tony's pockets because she's just like their mother. She is her mother without the cunning, the manipulation, the woe is me attitude with Janice. And also to Jackie, I think the only reason Tony really gives a shit about Jackie Jr. is because of that last promise he kept and hasn't immediately broken. And to lose that is one of the last straws. Cattle call, no pun intended, right? The Walking David, right? And again, in fairness, she's wearing the Bobby Bacala fat suit. I did not know she was, but she's in fact, I've come to find out she's wearing a fat suit. So we can make fun of Ginny Sack's fat ass because it's not real.
Yeah, I always feel bad for people in those roles where there's someone who's made fun of for being fat. And I'm like, damn, because that's me. I'm obviously fat, and like the mom in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, it's always painful because.
Now we know what ate Gilbert Grape. Yeah, like that.
Right.
In fairness, Matt, growing up with you had the worst. You were like, you had the worst jokes. You tend to dissuade people by having the best jokes. So if they tried to throw something at you, you would be like, oh, that's not a joke. This is a joke. Like I remember a couple of contexts like that when dealing with some turd assholes that tried to give you shit, and you would just be like. Pfft. You would spit it off and go full like Eddie Murphy and the Nutty Professor when Dave Chappelle tries to challenge him to fat jokes.
I do what I can. You have to at some point.
Okay, so this is where Tony basically tells Ralphie he is not going to be a captain. He says, Ralphie, you have some tendencies and I have them too. So Ralphie is their best earner at this point. Okay. Why is Tony doing this?
He's known Ralphie for
I know, but is Ralphie
years.
Okay? But and I want you to talk about this more. But is Ralphie really like? I know we see him, but I've heard Joey Pants talk about this, and I was watching an interview before this episode from Joey Pants, and he's like, people always hate Ralphie, but all these people are murdering psychopaths. Why did everyone hate Ralphie that much more?
No, it's completely not true because you can't tell me one time that Tony, I'm full of shit here, that like murdered someone that really didn't deserve it. That really, really, really was out of line.
You mean out of the game? You mean out of the game? Because like
I don't because because the girl's not technically out of the game because she's dating Ralphie. Like she knows what she's in for. But you see that Ralphie's a psychopath like that all the time. There's the other time when they're in the they're at like the casino that's behind the Bang or wherever they are, and he's just like tormenting that guy that the guy that works behind the bar at the Bang.
Oh yeah, that he destroys that guy. And
yeah, he like takes his eye out and shit. Yeah. Like he just like there's no one else in the Sopranos that is that.
But Tony also beats that same guy with a phone.
Yes, but Ralphie does it for the joy of doing it.
Tony does it because he has these tendencies and gets angry.
Tony was out of his mind that day. He was super frustrated, and the guy wouldn't shut the fuck up. Tony tried to walk away 3 times, but Tone, the ice. He goes and Still's like, just.
You should have known. He really should have known. I love him because. And then, but Tony's done some fucked up shit, especially post Junior getting shot. Tony, when he comes back after his every day is a gift. Tony, when he gets to that next level, Tony, after that, the end game, Tony, that is a scary fucking person. That is worse than Ralph.
Can you tell me a time when he took sheer joy in attacking or killing or
Christopher? I think he took joy in killing Christopher.
No, not in the way that
he fucked Christopher's girlfriend afterwards. He fucked Christopher's girl. Okay, so before we get past it,
Phil Leotardo maybe, but Phil Leotardo's a sick fuck. Like that, you wouldn't put him.
I was watching a random video earlier that was talking about how the end of the series. Well, I'll save it for the end of the series, but talking about how.
Are we gonna watch this, or what are we doing through this?
No, there was this theory that Okay, this is a scene right now. It's filmed. The Melfi rape scene. It is filmed in a tremendously realistic and raw kind of way. It's set up for the angry, horrible fucking crime that it is, and the way that the camera pans up at the end and shows her on the shows her laying there, and this whole setup from this point on in the episode is the intensity and the emotional level. Like it really takes this material and does it justice in the sense of showing you how horrible of a situation this is and how the system can fuck somebody, no pun intended, that can, when they get in this situation, that when she can identify this person, but they fuck it up and there's just nothing they can do. And that's why people like Tony Soprano exist. And I think that's why she thinks about that. Think about Tony doing it because that's the only justice she could get. But
yeah, and I mean that's the most horrifying thing that someone can happen.
Oh God, I can't even. I'm sorry to try to talk over it. It's just so horrible. I couldn't even. I've already watched that a day and a half ago, and I was horrified on my couch watching that. I purposely needed to get drunk and to deal with this episode. I'm not even kidding. It's so realistically horrifying the way it's filmed, and her performance, her scream, she deserves all the awards for that performance, just from a acting standpoint. And especially at the end, the two scenes that we get later, with the one with her and Elliot, and then the two with her and Tony after this, it's some of the best acting I've seen in my life.
Oh, the one with her and Tony at the end is amazing.
Yeah.
Tony's such a pig. Because when Carmela's telling him he was in a car accident, says something about her leg, her knees messed up. He had just been checking out her legs, including her knees, and that last, when they were in the office, he goes, "Oh, is that new about the outfit she's wearing?" He's so sick.
Yeah, that doesn't heal.
Right. He's thinking about how his view's gonna be screwed up the next time he's in therapy.
He's in therapy. Yeah. How is it affecting my checking her out? So then we get to this scene where the guy who plays her husband, I just don't we're supposed to not like him in all of this, right? Because I fucking hate him, and I hate the way he reacts.
But he's just a counterpoint for every other main male character in there. He's the exact opposite. I don't want to put him down because Phil, the town you and I are from is full of people like him. That's what most of the town is. They're not tough guys. They're not.
No, I'm not talking about him being a tough guy or not. I'm talking about the way he handles the situation, to how he treats her, making her feel like she fucked up by going into a dark place at night. The way he focuses on the guy being Italian and that he thought he was something else. It's just his focus isn't on making sure she is safe in the way that I think it should have been. And that's why I'm calling him a dick. Excuse me. Not because he's not Tony, not because he's weak. And I also want to point something out in this scene. I like how The Sopranos, even in a serious moment like this, knows how to throw comedy in there. When the way Carmela's talking to her right there, and the line you mentioned with the leg thing, but also the next call she makes, or it might have been the previous one, and I just talked over it, where she's leaving a message. Hi Sonia. I know you don't like to use. I know phones scare you.
Yeah.
It's such a hilarious, and in the way she plays it high for comedy.
Right.
Gecko, great to see Gecko in the chat. I haven't finished The Sopranos or seen The Walking Dead, so I've been missing out on Phil's latest episode. Still wanted to drop in and say hi. I know that's some of the situation that I will promise to get to some show that you're watching, Gecko, eventually, and be babbling about it. And I got to get to talking about some Game of Thrones prequel stuff coming up soon as well. So hopefully I'll see you in a live chat very soon, Gecko. But thank you so much for coming on in and dropping that like and saying hi to us. And I love how Tony turns this around. It's akin to
her knee, really?
Really? Well,
he likes looking at her legs is his favorite thing.
And I love how this is an extended scene, and maybe no actor on earth gives stink face as well as Edie Falco.
Right, to Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't even real stink face. This is
she's not even trying. She's
just really?
Really?
Ask Joe Namath. No, the knee. You never come back from that. Ask Joe Namath. Yeah, no thanks.
I thought they were gonna, Joe Namath or Joe Theismann also would have been an appropriate name in that situation. So then he turns it around right here, and again, it's amazing. Again, I'm gonna lick Carmela Soprano's labias here for a little bit. Edie is not making a lot of expressions on her face right there, but she expresses so much emotion just through her eyes. In that moment when he asks her if she wants to go to therapy, her eyes get a little bigger, and she's just like she feels really good about it, you know? And I love that about Edie Falco. That's one of those things that she does extremely well. And we talked about Gandolfini before too. Both of them are extremely good nonverbal actors, and it means a lot with their characters.
And again, the show doesn't work if she's not as good
No,
an actor as he is.
We've talked about this.
Not work with anyone else besides her there.
Again, I ask you that question that could be raised on occasion. The original Carmela, in the same way that the Golden Girls originally were going to have Betty White play.
Betty White was going to play Rue McClanahan's.
And Rue McClanahan was reading for Betty White's part. So initially and then it was one of the producers that decided to switch them around because they didn't want to do the same thing that Maude did and the Mary Tyler Moore Show did. But in similar, Lorraine Bracco, Melfi here, they're getting the information about the case being thrown out here after we see her with a certain cop.
By the way, I don't buy any of this. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
It's just to set
thrown out completely. That I didn't like how unrealistic that was.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little quick, and especially when they have so much evidence and so much like of an eyewitness.
You're not going to have a lawyer actually call up and have him go into a lineup and take it to court anyways. Like they're not people waiting on a public defender.
Or
they can afford lawyers.
Yeah, or sue in a civil case kind of thing because you have evidence. Right. You have literally have, but it's like, I don't know if it's like missed evidence, but it's like lost chain of custody type stuff is what they say. Yeah. But whatever. But Lorraine Bracco was originally supposed to be Carmela Soprano.
Right.
And she decided to say, or she was reading and she was one of the main picks for the part. And she decided that she wanted to play Melfi. Would the show have worked with her?
She would have been terrible as Carmela. She's not. Edie Falco that nastiness that she can get that you need to give to Tony, I don't think is in Lorraine Bracco. That's not who she is. There's a nastiness to Carmela that is necessary. It's not an insult. That like you have to give it back to Tony the way that he gives it, and I don't think she can. Well, she does in this setting. She does as the therapist. But.
Yes, and she also does to Ray Liotta's character a little bit, but she's also bullied by him a lot in Goodfellas, and doesn't really start challenging him till the end, and in a couple of big scenes. So this is a crazy moment too. I want to hear what she says here, because I forget exactly what it is.
What's going on? I don't know what you people did, but I can identify him.
Like, there's no way this conversation is this quick.
And she's just like rushing her off the phone. What'd she say here?
They had to let him go because they failed up the chain of custody.
Okay, but you still have the evidence, so you would think that you're right, their big lawyers would be able to do something here.
There's no way the conversation ends that quickly. That's all I'm saying, and that you get off the phone.
But the guy, her husband, did just basically tell the guy to fuck off right before that. You know, had been rude to him on the phone. But I still agree with you. I don't think the cop would have been that dismissive to the woman that was just raped talking to him on the phone.
Right.
So she
does turn this around on him right here, which is amazing.
She does, because if he's going to attack, and they both apologize for this later, but like if she's going to attack her like that, and I know he's frustrated, so I don't want to like hang him out to dry too much right here, but like he should just be supportive, and she can't, I don't know. Like all I can say is I would have handled the situation differently than he did, even if I would have been frustrated by this, And I love how she just comes on the offensive here. She's just had enough of his shit.
Right.
It's about your
Do we know what type of doctor he is? I know he's a doctor. Do we know? Is he?
No, they never really say. I always assumed he was a psychologist as well, or a psychiatrist as well, I mean. And then The Sopranos, of course, does a fade right to
Direct cut to this.
direct cut to fucking thonged ass dancing. As we said, oh, is this where Ralphie comes in and hands him the big envelope?
No. This is where they all start making fun of Jenny Sack, and he walks in.
Okay, I just want to let's put a little pin, a little Joe stress, a Joe Dirty Lock asterisk here into this particular episode where we hear your buddy Polly Walnuts. Whoops! Oh, sorry, I fucked it up.
Small state. She moves in. She could tip it over.
So I wanted to focus on that Polly told a joke there, but
Yeah.
Polly tells 2 jokes there. Okay, so I just want to be clear.
He
3.
does. That's
3.
fucked up. I never put that together.
3 jokes there. Like Polly's one of the worst at this. Like he's
God, I've also been in that moment when you say something and someone hears you. Your heart goes so. How scared was Gigi right there? That's the most scared anyone's ever been in their life.
That's a New York underboss walking in the room right there, and you're making fun of his wife. Right there, someone's thinking we need to get cameras in the front, the back room.
Right.
We need to get a little like. Okay, they raised this question in the Talking Sopranos podcast, but this whole Esplanade thing where they're all set to money, it's a merger, it's in Jersey, but it's a New York, New Jersey business venture between the 2 crews, with Ralphie and Tony both being whatever. Is Johnny Sack moving to New Jersey to keep a closer eye on some of this?
Well, that's what Tony says at the very beginning. He says the whole, you could have told me. You should have told me you were coming. You didn't tell me you were coming. No, he's not. It doesn't hurt that he does, but if he's just come, if he really wants to be in New York, he's not buying that house to come here.
Yes, Slice of Pizza and Directions. Great fucking name. It says Joe has changed. Yeah, Joe cut his dreadlocks, changed his name to Matt.
I did. I aged.
In fairness, I have once watched a very drunk evening in the middle of a park, watched Joe and Matt wrestle to try to put each other in a certain ending position. We don't have to mention the ending position, but a wrestling match between the 2 of them, which was very exciting to watch for everybody. It was like a big circle. We were all surrounded watching Matt and Joe wrestle.
I'm a lot bigger than Joe, but he wrestled in high school, so it's quite a match.
It was a very good match. I remember it being like a long match.
Yeah,
and
we both got each other there once, and then it was like I don't remember who ended up winning, and if it was Joe, it was Joe. But I didn't feel the thing about doing it with Joe is I was bigger than most of our friends. To those of you who are like watching and don't know what I look like in real life, which is most of you, but Joe had like wrestled a lot in his life. I didn't care that I lost to Joe.
No,
like, it was fine.
And the only problem,
if I did, I don't remember if I did or not.
No, the only problem listening to Joe is you'll never hear the end of it. But like, I'm sure if he happens to watch this, we'll see in the comment section who actually won that fight.
Yeah, and I don't, and it's fine either way.
Yeah, Joe will remember.
I actually remember little parts of it, to be honest with you, and that's 25 years ago.
I think it was the Southern Comfort night, to be honest with you. Percy says I'm about to join the Technical Difficulties Club and roll one up as soon as my daughters are distracted enough to pull a ninja vanish.
So this is one of the first times they actually hear anything that's remotely worth hearing.
Yep.
After the whole episode 1 debacle of putting this in the basement.
And they focus on like Little Lord Fuckward or whatever. Who's Little Lord?
Yeah, and they're like, who is that? They're like, I don't think that's an actual code name for anyone.
But this is another interesting Tony and Christopher scene. Christopher almost seems hurt that Tony didn't make a promise like this to Dickie.
Correct. So Jackie's too good for this life and your own son's too good for this life and your own daughter's too good for this life, but I wasn't too good for this life.
Yeah, you couldn't have put me. You could have made, because Christopher at heart's like, why didn't they get me into modeling or get me into theater classes, something like that.
And Tony right there says, well, you were cut out for it, which is bullshit. He knows right away that this was the life for Christopher.
Christopher could have been an artist of some sort.
Christopher is a hell of a lot more talented and has more to offer the world than Jackie fucking Jr. does. Yeah. That's for sure. Or AJ.
I didn't. Or that's in a later episode where, and what I found out on the Talking Sopranos podcast, that line, I didn't, was actually like he flubbed his line because he was trying to play being on heroin, and he's like trying to drop his lip, and he said he did multiple takes and that he only did that on one take, and that was the take that they used. And he says it's like the most, he says it's like the most quoted line to him. Like people will walk up and be like, Christopher, I didn't.
They're looking up to see who the moniker belongs to.
And she comes back to work very quick here, and she's going through going to the same spot where she was in. You got to applaud her for having sort of wanting to kind of get moving again, but she probably came a little too soon.
Yeah, she also, though, very much. We learned this earlier on when Tony tells her she has to go on the lam early, and like
I'm
whatever
not
that was.
going on the lam.
But she's desperately worried about the mental health of her patients.
Yes.
She knows she has suicidal patients. She can't be away from them for that long.
And doesn't she actually lose one patient, I believe?
I believe so, yes.
So, and this is another thing that they raised a little bit on the Talking Sopranos podcast. Do you think Tony, because of what he saw with Janice eventually after all this and everything he's seen in his life, do you think he ever truly buys that she was just in a car accident after seeing her?
No.
I don't think so either. I think it was Steve Sciarippa was talking that Tony being a street guy and seeing everything, he probably thinks her husband beat her or something like that. Like
exactly. But he must not, because if Tony thinks that her husband beat her,
someone would have someone would have had a talk with him.
Right.
Polly Walnuts would have paid him a visit in an elevator, or Patsy or somebody. I'm the last.
Send Furio over.
Send Furio over.
Send an actual Italian over. You really want to put her husband over the edge? Send over a guy from Sicily. He'll never recover mentally from.
You did what to a doctor?
Yes.
But yeah, okay, maybe Tony suspects, but he's not. Because there's the whole tone shift, the way he talks to her in this whole scene. And these two scenes with him and her are great. And like his line coming up here is classic Sopranos line. Oh, fuck, I did it again.
And I appreciate your concern.
I'm a little behind. You're a little ahead of me now, probably. But close enough. Who cares? So this line right here.
So that's what's wrong with the world, right there.
We're gonna listen to a little bit of this.
Innocent person is driving along, minding their own business, and some fucking asshole comes out and smashes into him.
You can't control everything that
Bam.
happens.
But you can get pissed off.
And then what? Lose control?
Who said anything about that? You direct your anger where it belongs.
You have panic attacks. Feelings of anger, revenge, whatever overwhelm you. That's where behavioral
It's such a good tennis match between the two of these actors, like, and that's where you're right. Like, she was meant to play this part.
Right.
Yeah, and I love that line by Tony right there. How do you make him do what you want?
Right.
And this is the scene. This is the throwaway scene of the episode. It connects it's the B storyline of the whole season. Ultimately, we're getting the hint of the Jackie Jr. and Meadow thing. We see Tony needing to finally confront Jackie Jr. about some of the shit he's been doing. And okay, he might be an okay whatever, like when he's on the job, but where the fuck does he get off talking to Tony like this? Is it Richie? Is it Richie that sort of got...
he's Jackie's son.
Yes, but even if he's being Jackie's son up to a certain point, like when we see him at the very beginning, he's respectful to Tony. Like, is it Richie that made him, like, because Richie's gone, he feels like he's the one that needs to keep Tony honest or something? Like, I don't know what it is that makes him think he can get away with talking to Tony like this. But... he doesn't realize what Tony can do to him until he's in the bar that night when he's actually dating Meadow, and Tony sees him like at the bar. Tony's like coked up a little bit, I believe, and he like just beats the shit out of him in a bathroom and says, "You bottomed out." And that's like and that's when finally I think Jackie's actually realizes who he's dealing with. Like, I don't think Jackie thinks he'd ever be hurt. Like,
well, again, we learn. I think we learned that that thing with Ralphie is the first time he's actually seen that.
Yes.
He pissed his pants before that. Like he had never done that before in the scene before that. He had never actually committed a crime. The hardest he had been up to that point in his life was knocking the tray out of the guy's hand at the pizza place.
Yeah.
Like that was him being a hard ass because he was in front of Christopher. But like I don't think he's ever seen someone just get their ass kicked before.
No. Would Jackie have been like this if Jackie Sr. lived? Would Jackie Sr. have like? No, he probably never would have. He probably just would have flunked out of college. Been AJ. He would just would have been AJ.
Percy, we probably didn't say it enough this time here. We've seen this show probably a million times.
Yeah, this is a show that we were talking about doing this for a long time, something like this, and then Joe and I did Game of Thrones stuff and Walking Dead stuff, and this was sort of an extra additional thing that we added on. We've been doing this for like 6 years, for like many years, and we took like a 900-day break from doing it.
Yeah, we've both seen the show, and it's more just us. This was all started because Phil and I had a discussion one time about whether or not Breaking Bad was a better show than this, and he said, "Well, we're gonna watch this together," and that was 8 years. And
we're gonna see how much it holds up and all that sort of stuff. And
Janice playing Satisfaction, terrible,
horrible. Like she wants a music career. Like I'm no champ, Matt, but I think I can play a little better than Janice.
This is true. The drums aren't coming through though, Phil. We can't hear them.
Are you can hear them? So this is a fun whole scene. Like again, I'm not condoning like liking seeing Janice get hit, but I'll say it again, as I say oftentimes, these aren't real people, these are television characters. And Janice as a television character is a horrible person that stole a woman's leg and is using it as a bargaining chip for $200 worth of records. I've tried to sell records at the record exchange and online. You don't get what you think you're gonna get from it. She stole a $20,000 leg and she's being a douche about it, and she deserved that. Television show Janice deserved that.
She did, and she's one of the 3 or 4 worst people on this show as far as who she is as a human.
Maybe one of the top 10 to 15 worst people that ever, worst television character. I don't mean worst.
Can you imagine if she was a guy, like in them, how terrible she would be? She'd be killing people all the time.
She'd be Ralphie-ish. She'd be worse.
Yes, exactly. She wanted her brother killed because it was like at the time it was her way to get that piece of shit Richie.
No, honestly, like, and I know you don't think it's as bad, but she's late series Tony. Like when Tony totally forgets giving a shit about anything to do with like friendship or loyalty, and he becomes the Tony that was going to kill Hesh and might have killed Hesh's wife. And I'm still not sure.
The Tony that was going to kill Paulie, who's been the most loyal person. Like that was the thing. There was some weird.
Yeah, the Tony that was going to kill Paulie because he was annoyed by him.
Yeah.
You know that
Paulie,
Tony,
who was like literally the one person besides Sil you could count on never becoming a
if
rat.
Paulie had just said, "I did tell Johnny Sack," he wouldn't have survived that boat trip.
Right.
And honestly, as we see the dream where she starts having the fantasy of Tony helping her in this dream with the Rottweiler that we get discovered in a moment here. But in the video that I watched, a YouTube video, speculated that the guy that kills Tony at the end is, if we accept that Tony dies at the end of the episode, it was actually Paulie and Patsy that set him up. Paulie set him up because he knew Tony was going to kill him on the boat and thought that for whatever reason he got out of it, but Tony would always want to kill him. And Patsy because he's still bitter about the brother stuff, and he gives all this little evidence. I'm going to send you the video just so you can watch it.
Doesn't Patsy get killed? Isn't Patsy?
No, Patsy's one of the ones that survives. In fact,
does he run away? Is there a video of him running away at some point? I haven't
seen
season
there
6
is.
in a while.
There is. Patsy survives. Patsy and Paulie are the only ones that survive. And that they worked with the New York family that Tony made the deal with Phil to kill Phil and kill Tony and bring semblance back to the situation.
No, I don't buy it.
I don't buy it either, but
Paulie wouldn't do that to Sil.
I don't buy it, but Sil's in a coma. Sil's dead.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have. That whole thing was put in motion. Like it was all part of the same thing.
Maybe we'll see. No, that was after that because Phil's the one that escalated that, and New York wants Phil to not escalate. New York didn't want Phil to kill Sil or coma-eyes Sil. Like, anyways, I'm gonna send you the video because it's a well made. I don't agree with it, but it's like a cogent argument that the person makes for it. So I'll send you the link to the video at some point, and we can talk about it on a future episode. This is a great scene between the two of them as they figure out this dream. It's a little. Is this how people talk? Like, is this how therapists, when therapists are doing that, do they go, the Roman Empire? Did you see that story about the person?
The Roman Empire part was a little bullshit. Although they're super into archetypes.
They are.
In her head, she knows that's an archetype, and like, let me put it this way. I don't think that Elliot would have those dogs in his dream to mean that, but I think if she knows that, that's maybe what...
Right. The way she verbalizes it is a little like Star Trek-y in the way of like the discovery and this is how we did. I don't know. But I love this moment when she goes, someone's going to stop them. Would you do it, Elliot? Who's going to stop him, Elliot? You?
Did I miss the scene when she's talking to her husband and looks at his hands? Did we talk right through that?
I think we might talk right through because that's the forgiveness scenes where I'll kill him with these hands, Jen, with these hands right here.
Right.
I think it was the scene before. It's a couple of scenes before the dream.
Oh, it's right. He comes in the room right after she storms out. Right.
Yeah.
I think we already.
They make up from the argument. So, right here, she says that she's not going to break the social norms. She answers the question that we don't get at the end here. She says she's not going to tell.
Yeah. He goes, but we have a civilization. She goes, don't worry, I'm not going to break. Like, yeah.
And then we go.
And here we see Tony again. This is the juxtaposition where he just knows. His piece of shit sister, who deserved to get her ass kicked.
She did. I hate to say it,
still has
but...
to go kick someone's ass, and he wants no part of it. He likes the Russians. He doesn't want to go have to do this, but he does have to do it, and it's.
No, exactly, and again, I'll say it again for anyone. We're talking about television characters, not real people. And Janice is a horrible television character and deserved to get her ass kicked there. And
absolutely.
And Tony, and she didn't even get her ass kicked. She deserved to get popped once and be like, "Shut up, give me the fucking leg." That's what she was asking for that, and she kind of knows it too. She's not saying "woe is me" here.
Tony knows it. Tony knows she was asking. Tony knows she should have gotten slapped, but he also knows. I'm a mafia boss. I can't let that happen. And if you're attacking on my sister, you're attacking me. And that's the male machismo too. If you attack my sister, you're attacking me because you're saying that you're not worried about me.
Exactly. It makes me look weak if I don't fuck these guys up for fucking you up.
Even if they didn't know who you were, I have to do it. This is everything. And again, I think that Melfi must know that if she tells him, part of him has to enact revenge.
Right. She knows him, and I agree with you. She knows enough about him to know that this guy will, and she says it in that setting with Elliot. Like I know this fucking cocksucker motherfucker, and I love how she refers to that, this fucking employee of the month cocksucker. We kind of talked over that scene too. She goes to get food and she sees that this guy is the employee of the month in the restaurant that in like the McDonald's.
The name of the episode.
Yeah, which is the name of the episode, and which. I think again,
fucked up name of the episode.
Yeah, it is. And I think again that was set up in this episode so that at the end it has even more stakes because we know that she knows how to find him. Excuse me.
We also in this little bit about her when he says, he starts talking about all the other like spiritual paths she's gone down.
Oh yeah, Vishnu and
discovering Jesus.
Oh, this leads into one of the funniest Janice moments.
Right here, she's committing herself to God. Her whole life to God, right?
And then she starts the Christian rock band, the Faith Plus One thing, with the dude that's a great mother grabbing lyric, Janice. As we head off to the crazy party at Johnny Sack's house, where the new house with all the guys and shit. And we see a lot of making out here at this party. We see Christopher and Adriana making out. I think we see two other characters making out at some point.
This is so unnecessary.
Yeah, right there. Like, why do we have to see Christopher like anteater facing fucking Dre Diameo? Like what the fuck, dude? Fuck you. So this is the scene you were talking about earlier, where we also see these two. Rosie is beautiful, golly. And he starts quoting his gladiator shit. On this rewatch, this is one of those things I've In a show like The Sopranos, just like many other shows, if you've seen them a lot, like whether it be a show like Game of Thrones or Sons of Anarchy, even I know we have Game of Thrones viewer and a Sons of Anarchy viewer in the chat. The more you watch it, you start to notice different things in episodes or different feels from different watches. My most recent Sons of Anarchy watch, I just loved Unser more than I did in any other watch. My most recent Game of Thrones watch, I appreciated certain characters that I didn't appreciate as much the first times I watched. I forgot how little Syl is used.
Well, Syl's not a great actor.
No, he's not, but he's a great character, but they use him so he doesn't really get many stories.
No.
And I kind of forgot this as we lead into our final scene of the episode, and I'm going to make sure I play all this audio because this is one of the most intense scenes in all television history. And I ask you guys the question again, which I think is yes. In everything we've been through and everything we've been talking about tonight, and leave it in the comment section after this video if you're watching this later. Did you want Tony to know? Did you want Melfi to tell him? Because it would probably mean the end of Melfi's life. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, Matt. And we'll talk about it after the episode.
For me personally, I want the guy to get his ass kicked. I don't care if Tony does it or someone or who does.
Me too.
I would have liked the legal system to have done its job, but it didn't.
What I would have loved to see a conclusion of this episode is somehow Melfi's husband reaches out to Tony and gets it done without her knowing.
No, that he can't because you know how he is. He's not going to be that person for Italians.
Right, but maybe
maybe
that's the storyline in the episode, that this being done to the woman he loves drives him to that, and he's fully accepting of it.
I thought we were going to listen to this. That
we
totally
are.
Didn't happen.
Right.
What I do? Come on, huh?
He says to her, "Oh, I think I'm going to go to behavior therapy." And she says
Loses
no.
it.
That's it.
And Matt, to your point, there's an episode of Sons of Anarchy I want to talk about when we're done.
What's about it?
And she gets so weak right there and lets him come over and do that and just make her feel safe for 1 second.
And then she's like, get the fuck over there, because in that moment, all she wants to do is tell him.
Yep. And now her conversation with Elliot, don't worry, I won't break the social code.
It's just my knee. And he knows. Look at Tony's face. Like, he knows something's up. Something more than what she's saying.
Go on.
What?
And if Tony wasn't so egocentric, he'd remember this, but he forgets it after today because he's so into his own shit. Oof. No. And then just to black. Bam.
So frustrating.
I wanted him to know. I'll ultimately say I wanted him to know because I want to see that guy suffer too. And
there's no one else in this show that deserves a beating that doesn't get it more than him.
No, death that doesn't get it. And to the point before about Elliot doing it or Elliot having part of it, there's a scene in Sons of Anarchy where a character that's sort of straight edge like Elliot. Not Elliot, like her husband. I forget her husband's name.
Richard.
Richard his daughter's raped, and the Sons of Anarchy, the biker gang, get the guy, and they put him in a knife in his hand, ready to stab him, and he can't do it, But like they kill the guy anyways, and they use it as leverage to sort of blackmail the dude, but. Like, in the moment, I like the fact that he went to the club to get revenge on what happened to his daughter. So I guess if I'm autocorrecting in my own mind, I don't mind a universe where Richard knows it's Tony Soprano. We set it up in the episode that he looked through the book and he saw that the client was Tony Soprano. And by the end of the episode, after that scene with the two of them, there's maybe not after, but like, or maybe somewhere later in the season, we see a moment where Tony has a moment with Richard, and Richard has gone. I was in this with my lawyers. It connects to The Godfather too, where you have and I know you're gonna say poo-poo this, so I'm going till you, because I know you're gonna throw cold water on this. The Godfather with the guy that Don Corleone, that alienates Don Corleone till his wife needs him because his daughter's beat, and he has to break his own moral code and beg Vito Corleone for a favor when he hates him really, and it's some weird sort of parallel. So I don't know. I wouldn't have minded that, but that's just because I was as David Chase says, I was raised on a steady diet of Hollywood movies and network television.
Right.
I want my fucking conclusion.
But the problem is he's not just a regular straight guy. He's a guy who's adamantly against the mafia as an Italian. That's why he can't
Which
do it.
makes it an even bigger, and I agree with you, Matt, but I'm just arguing devil's advocate to a certain extent, which makes it an even better sort of moment to show that even a guy like that, when faced with this personal situation where he's so helpless, could turn to a man like Tony Soprano.
Well, yeah, and you're right. It could have happened down the road. I think at this point, there's still legal options that they're going to probably explore. Like you said, I mean, the bruises haven't even healed yet. There's still avenues to go about this.
Right,
know?
but it wouldn't have, I guess I'm saying if, no, because it's the same thing, like, I'm sure this was talked about to a certain extent. It was the same thing, like, I know there were talks about bringing the Russian back for the series finale to give you that closure, and I think a big part of what David Chase wants is he'd rather you have that uncomfortable feeling. David Chase has a little bit of Andy Kaufman-ness in him, in the fact that he wants you to feel uncomfortable. He wants you to walk up to the television screen after, don't stop. And when that happens, to like be like, is the TV working? What's going on? Like he gets off on the fact that everyone was like, did my cable cut out? That's a joke for him. So
yeah, I think I probably mentioned this before, but I was reading something recently about how there's two great types of ending you can have in television. At the time, this had not yet been done, so no one knew that this was a possible ending. There was you leave everything wide open, and then there was like this, and then there was the exact opposite, which was 6 Feet Under, which they wrap up every story, every single possible, literally the life of what happens to every single main character in the show, and this is the exact opposite. And now, it's changing, as we're gonna have more and more and more shows that end not necessarily like this, where it was intentionally vague, but so many shows get canceled after 2 to 3 seasons now.
Yeah,
that's just a new thing. Dramas that people are living by,
like a show like Mindhunters that I'm a big fan of, just ends really quickly.
Yeah, there's a show Jen and I watched called Patriot, and it just ended, and it was like only after 2 seasons, it was just over. That was it. So
the mafia guy said Tony's going to a therapist is fiction, that no mobster would even do that. For the most part, no mobster would even do that. A couple of high profile guys, I want to say, God, I don't, I'm like all about recommending other people's channels. What's that guy's name? Michael, I'm blanking on his name. There's a former mafia guy that does this thing called Mafia Movie Mondays, and
I know who you're talking
Michael
about.
Genovese or something. I think that might be his name.
Yeah.
He has 2 episodes that are about the Sopranos, and he talks about.
He was in the Colombo family, I think.
Yes, I believe it was the Colombo family. If you want to check out a little bit, sort of, he mentions 1 or 2 mafia guys he knew in his life, but not many that actually did go to therapists. I believe, no, because I think it's Joe Colombo. I think he's in a different family. I don't know if it's a Colombo family, but I think.
So I do want to say this response to that.
Maybe.
I don't think Tony would have never gone to a therapist if he wasn't passing out. If he wasn't passing out, he's not going there to work out his feelings about his mom. Like, he would never do that. He's there because
the panic
passing
attack
out is dangerous to him and his job.
And
he's been in car accidents and almost died, and it's a sign of weakness to people around him. Him fainting is a complete sign of weakness.
Yeah, and I would also go that, yes, his father and his grandfather probably did it too and passed out, and they just ignored it. But in the time period of which he's growing up, the 90s, the 2000s, where he starts having those panic attacks, he's going to be rushed to the hospital, and he lives next to a doctor that gave him the suggestion to go to therapy because it's a mental thing. It's like, and he didn't really want to go there. He went there kicking and screaming and such.
Yeah, he's since day one, when he was in the hospital, when the second time it happened, he just goes, what's the pill? Like, he just, give me whatever I need to do so that this stops. He doesn't want to talk about his feelings. He doesn't want to talk about his mother. He doesn't want to talk about Janice, his wife, AJ, any of that. He just wants this fixed.
Now we got some additional points in fucking facts and stuff. Janice is, and this is thanks to Sopranos Autopsy, a good website that breaks down every episode if you want to check it out. Janice is trying to learn how to play the Stones. Can't get no satisfaction on her Fender. When they visit, she also sought out satisfaction previously in Hinduism, Vishnu. Tony reminds her of. Okay, this is bullshit. In the episode aired 6 months before the 9/11 attacks. Gigi tells the guys that more of our tax money should go to fighting terrorism. Residents of New York and New Jersey, like Gigi, were probably more cognizant of it. The code of silence, one of the most problematic issues between Tony and Melfi during their therapy sessions, is the oath of omerta. He can't truly open up about his life if he's following by mob rules. This is kind of what Killmonger was hinting at. The tables have turned this episode. It's Melfi who must remain silent. The line from Gladiator that Ralphie repeats connects to the idea of Melfi gaining her soul. What we do in life echoes through eternity.
Yeah, he is the Colombo family. Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Addiction. But yeah, I do recommend that guy's videos if you want some historical accounts or some especially the episode. I don't watch his sit downs or the religious sort of stuff that he puts out, but I like his Mafia movie Mondays because he'll like break apart Mafia movies, tell you some historical significance and some real stories based around it. His Soprano ones are pretty good.
His voice is just awesome too. He literally just talks like that, but it's like that's how he sounds.
Yeah.
That's how you'd expect him to sound.
He had a sit down thing he did with his daughters the other day, and they were all like calling him on his shit. It was actually kind of funny to watch. He's talking about how one of his daughters like brought her boyfriend chicken soup, and he like yelled at her about it because he's like, no guy you're with should ever show weakness. You can't bring him chicken soup. He should be bringing you chicken soup when he's sick. It's just fucking hilarious, you know. So yes, please watch his videos so he can give me a shout out. So more people will watch me. But anyways, yes, thank you, Addiction, NAAACTETES, mental health. So let's read a couple more of these things. The episode Employee of the Month could also refer to other characters in addition to Jesus Rossi, Gigi.
No, I was trying to figure out who it would be though.
Gigi, who is made the captain over Reckless Ralph. Jackie, who had pissed himself in the Ruckers, holds up nevertheless, praised by Christopher here. So Matt poo-poos both of those. Okay, so a couple more facts. Ginny Sacramone won the part by attending an open casting call. She had not acted professionally before, Matt.
Shocking.
We talked about the song Janice plays Can't Get the Satisfaction. The song played during the end credits is Fisherman's Daughter. Okay. Furio Junta is reading a magazine featuring Tiffany Amber Thiessen. There is never a mention or showing of a parking garage at Melfi's psychiatry office before this episode. Lorraine Bracco's character is raped by a character named Jesus Rossi or J.
It's Jesus, you racist.
Fine, Jesus Rossi or J. Rossi in the film, or J. Rossi in the film Goodfellas. Lorraine Bracco's character also has a nemesis named J. Rossi, Janice Rossi, whose husband she is sleeping with her. You know, when the scene where Lorraine Bracco's character goes to the phone thing and goes, 7R, you got a whore. Janice Rossi in 7R, a whore. I
haven't seen all of Goodfellas in a while. I've seen parts of it. I don't remember that.
Yeah, she finds out that it's right before the scene where she puts a gun in Henry Hill's face when he wakes up and she's aiming the gun at him. The scene before that, she goes to the house, the apartment of the girl, the Gumar, and she just starts banging on the intercom system and starts like shouting at she starts buzzing, let me up, and then she doesn't let her up. So she starts buzzing every room of every apartment and saying, in 7R, whatever it is, you got a whore, and telling everyone in the building, hi, I just want to call the superintendent and let you know that in 7R you have a whore. It's a funny point. So, anything else you have to say about this episode that we didn't get to say, Matt? I think we covered it pretty well.
I think so.
It's a tough episode to watch. We kind of yetted over some of the more serious aspects of it, but it is. I think the show takes the subject matter serious and gives it to you in a raw, rough way. Yeah, I think they go to some lengths of realism of would the case have been thrown out that easily? A couple of other moments have been as easy to access. The dream analysis scene may connect the dots a bit too real than it would have actually been in a discussion, would have really have been like that. But whatever, I think it's all worth it to lead up to that dramatic moment at the end with Tony and her, because from a television standpoint, it's probably one of the moments where I was screaming at my television the first time I watched that episode more than any other scene I've seen. Like, kill him.
You never ever see Tony with that expression on his face. He's like dumbfounded. He's like, "What did I do? What did I do?" He's so apologetic to her. He can't. The fact that she's crying in front of him at that moment, when she's always in control of that room, she is crying and vulnerable. And he first is like, "What did I do? What did I say?" He's so apologetic and like comforting to her. And then when he sits down, he just has this befuddled look on his face that I can't recall him having that at any other time. He just doesn't know
what to do,
how to comprehend.
Yeah, no clue.
What's in front of him. And
no.
you know, it's again, like you said a million times, what he can do with his eyes is just incredible. The looks he can give, and that's a perfect example.
And that's a perfect example. And what we get with where we'll get to, and I'm actually excited to see these episodes again. The Kevin Finnery stuff, when it's just like a subtle difference in a different way he's playing Tony Soprano. And no, he's not Kevin Finnery. People think he's Kevin Finnery because he looks kind of like him. But so people often call that Kevin Finnery. In the dream that he's in, he's still Tony Soprano. And when he's talking on the phone to his wife, I recently was getting into those episodes again, a little bit. But, the woman that's talking on the phone, that's his wife, sounds like it could be Charmaine. So Charmaine's sort of like the girl that got away in his mind a little bit because because when Carmela and him were on the splits, she didn't accept his business, and then he went back to Carmela. So he kind of, in a weird way, she's the one that got away for him. And I that's an interesting way to look at the whole series, and you don't learn that till the end, or in that moment where she's like, yeah, Carmela, I had sex with him. But it wasn't for me, in that kind of moment with the two of them. But and then Carmela's
that's her doing this to Carmela.
Yeah, that's her back. Like, oh, fine, you gonna fuck with me? I'm gonna tell you what I fucked your husband, and it wasn't for me. Yeah. I could have had him, but this life isn't for me.
Yeah, I chose Artie Bucco over your husband. That's what you got.
Artie Bucco. How's your rash, Artie?
Fucking Artie.
I guess that how's your rash thing is again, this is something they talk about in Talking Sopranos episodes, that the how's your rash thing, that is an inside joke that made it into the show. That's a greeting that often the actors on the show would greet each other with. How's your rash? How's your dick? How's your pussy? Like, they would say those things to each other. That was like a warm-up that they would do. So they kind of wrote the funniest one into the script with the how's your rash. So Lorraine Bracco would often shout to one of the male actors, "How's your pussy?" or something like that. She's a
That's amazing.
Yeah, she from what the feel I get from her, and from talking about her, she's a hot ticket. She's a fun person to have around, and she's she's gonna put you on edge, and she's gonna So anyways, awesome episode. Lorraine Bracco deserves a lot of attention for this performance, but an overall great episode of The Sopranos. We'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about another episode, a very more fun of an episode, but also very uncomfortable to watch.
And still, I'm going to say maybe the best single episode performance of a guest star in the show. I mean, he tears it up from beginning to end.
Possibly.
Like you legitimately think he has emphysema.
You mean the guy that plays before you said emphysema? Was what, the guy that played Mustang Sally? No, but yes, no. Burt Young. Who, if you don't know Burt Young,
he's Paulie. He's the real Paulie.
He's Uncle Uncle Paulie, not Paulie Walnuts, and also one of his underrated but still he's been in a million things. But I'm talking about the things I saw him when I was a kid the most in. That and an underrated performance of his is in Back to School, where he plays Rodney Dangerfield's bodyguard, essentially.
I haven't seen that in 30 years.
Watch it. It holds up. It actually holds up. Johnny's in it, too. Johnny Lawrence.
Johnny Lawrence, my guy.
Johnny Lawrence is one of the trilogies of movies that Johnny Lawrence plays the dick character. There's The Karate Kid. Then there's the pre-mentioned Back to School. And then finally Just One of the Guys.
He's also a dick in European Vacation. He plays the boyfriend.
Oh, I forgot.
In the very beginning. He's like, I like her thin. That's the very beginning of European Vacation. He's the dick boyfriend. Yeah, she's thinking about the whole time in Europe.
Yeah, he breaks up with Crazy Audrey.
Right.
So everyone that's checking this out at any point in time, thank you so much for checking this out. Matt, thank you for talking about The Sopranos with me. I can't wait. In 2 weeks from now, we're going to get into a little Burt Young action. And if anyone enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with a friend. Keep the Sopranos discussion going in the comment section.
Check out Phil's other stuff. It's way better than
No.
Just talking about The Sopranos, which we would literally be doing like without
anybody watching it.
If no one was here.
So and you can also keep the discussion going by joining our Discord. You can find the link to that in the description box below. You can also follow me on Twitch if you're into video game kind of streaming at Phil the Issues Guy. You can find all those links in the description box below. How to help us out on Patreon, all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much to Matt. Thank you to the motherfucking chat. Thank you to The Sopranos for another fucking crazy awesome episode. We're in for a rough couple of episodes, but where we see Pine Barrens on the horizon, which is a very funny episode towards the end of this season. So we got a lot of Jackie Jr. to get through till we get there, but we're getting there, and we get to be rewarded with Jackie Jr. being dead at the end of all of this too. Huge by Vito. Huge love to Phyllis watching and to Killmonger, Addiction, Slice, Jay, Percy, thank you. Walking David, who popped in earlier. Muhammad, toast to you, buddy.
What do you hear? What do you say?
Peter Griffin as well. Pizza. All of you guys, thank you so much, and the people that watch this later. Matt, I will talk to you next time. Oh, yes. And this Sunday, if I'm not on before, if you're into watching The Walking Dead, I'll be on at about 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With or without Joe, I'm not sure yet. It'll depend if he's working. If he's working, no. If not, then by my lonesome, or possibly with The Walking David or Tony, or some other possible guest. But I will be on again this Sunday, and possibly on before then to do a Twitch stream, and I'll be talking about the WandaVision season finale on Teflon TV on Saturday afternoon at around 3:30 p.m. with Tony and Alicia. And as well, probably either Friday or Saturday night on Tony's After Dark stream. So if you want to check that out, those are all the places to find me in the upcoming moments or upcoming days. And if you're watching this way later, just make sure you're following I Got Issues Man on Twitter so you can get all updates on when I go live generally. And make sure if you're subscribed to my channel on YouTube and you're watching this and you're like, it didn't tell me you went live. What I want you to do is make sure you go to the little subscription thing, hit the bell, hit always notified. Especially now because I say motherfucker, the second word. They're not going to notify you unless you make sure you set it to be notified. So make sure if you want to be known when we go live and do all sorts of random discussions, make sure you're subscribed and you click on that little bell thing and you click on the thing that says always know, follow me, add me as a friend, do all that sort of shit. Overdo it. Corey Mitchell comes in at the end. We got Tiff from the Amber Thieves and The Walking Dead, I love that. Walking Dead, the college years. With the characters I don't care about. Oh my goodness. Bye, guys.
Tiffany and Rathieson, hey, by the way, let's R.I.P. I know it's been a couple weeks, but R.I.P. to, what's his name? The kid who played Screech. It's been like a month or two already.
Oh, Dustin Diamond. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Corey Mitchell says, The Walking Dead, the college years. And so glad I can watch The Sopranos, the 2000s with the golden age of television. It definitely was the foundation of the start of it, which I believe we're sort of heading out of at this point, but we're still seeing some great TV. But The Walking Dead really was sort of that initial start of that golden age. And I'm not The Walking Dead. Sorry, definitely not The Walking Dead. The Sopranos. Sorry, I've got The Walking Dead on my mind. All of a sudden, I've shifted. But I would say The Walking Dead's first couple of seasons I would include in the discussion within there as being great appointment television, if never really deep. But somewhere after season 4 through 6 is when it stopped being a good television show and being a soap opera of discussingness. Anyways, rest in peace, Dustin Diamond. Love you, Corey Mitchell. Talk to you very soon, buddy. Love you, Matt. Talk to you soon. The college years, yes. Sorry, I keep wanting to end, but then people say good things. Jay, I would agree that the college years of Saved by the Bell were better than the new class. The new class sucked because all you had to watch in the new class were Screech and Belding. At least in the Saved by the Bell, the college years, you had the 3 original guys. You had Tiffany Amber, and you had those 2 other girls that were both really cute too. And then you had Lyle Alzado. I think it wasn't Lyle Alzado. It was Bob Golick. It was Bob Golick. and Lila Zito.
Yeah,
rest in
not
peace.
the two original girls.
No. You had two other girls which were very cute,
Oh,
naturally
okay.
good characters.
I've never seen the show. I don't know.
But you had Tiffany at her all-time hottest, and right before she joined 90210. And I mean, she always looks great, but I think Tiffany, the college years stretch, was her at her most shit alcohol abuse, vodka down. At least it cleans everything. It's like I sanitized my table.
Yeah.
Big Kev. Oh, I'm glad now my brokenness is so glad we stayed on a little longer. Thank you, Big Kev. Big Kev, what's up? Screech Porno. I hate to say I watched the Screech Porno. And
Did you really?
I did.
What's wrong with both of you?
I don't know. Big Kev, super chat donation for $9.99. That means I need to spin the wheel, Matt. Got to keep you on a little bit longer. Got to spin the wheel.
I'm here.
Here we go. Big Kev, spin the wheel. Let's see what Big Kev gets. Big Kev gets. Now we're going to do this right away. Big Kev gets. Oh, okay. Oh, no. Big Kev, thank you so much for the super chat donation. Means more than you know these days, Big Kev. To help the channel, help me keep going now, especially with YouTube stuff being so what you get for YouTube videos being so small. I definitely appreciate any super chat donation. It means a lot. It landed on we both take a shot. Matt's not drinking these days, so I will take an extra shot for Matt. Here.
It's fine. I'll hit my.
Oh yeah, Matt. Okay, Matt will take a different kind of shot.
Yes.
Holy shit! 2? Oh, Big Kev, you just gave us another one. Almost forgot Deadwood. Same how Slater and Jesse got back together. Did they get back together in the movie, or like the Zach and Kelly get married movie? Big Kev, he did another super chat, so I have to give him another spin of the wheel, Matt. Oh, let's see what Big Kev gets. Thank you so much, Big Kev. Super chat means so fucking much, man. Here we go. Another spin of the wheel for Big Kev. Here we go, Big Kev. Big money, no whammies. No
Listen,
whammies.
Dustin might have denied it was him, but dude, no one else looks like that. There's no such thing as a look like.
Stop! Whoa, okay. Big Kev, I will take another shot from Matt, but you got some drum fun. So let me put this on. I gave a little drum fun earlier, but I'll give a little bit more drum
Oh,
fun.
I wasn't kidding. I really couldn't hear the drum fun before. I hope we can hear it now.
Oh yeah, can you guys hear it? No, you can hear the drum fun. Here we go. There you go, Big Kev. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you for that super chat donation. Could you hear the drum fun that time?
Nope, but I'm not going to tell you that.
Oh, okay.
Something cancels it out. You can hear it for a second, and then it just gets super, super, super low. Like it must be hitting something that's like auto-canceling.
Okay. People in the live chat, let me know if you guys could hear the drum fun. Maybe it's something.
Could you guys hear that, or did it get really quiet?
Okay.
We need to know for the future, because it was amazing, but it was so soft.
It was so soft. Maybe I need to just get the volume up a little bit.
No, 'cause it starts loud, then it just...
Oh, interesting. Okay. So Big Kev says, glad I can help. I won a poker tournament. So here's 10 more. Thank you, Big Kev. Big Kev is a professional rounder out there making his I'm sure he has a couple of things here and there, but he plays in some big games. Matt is also
I'm actually Big Kev. I'm actually playing it's in like a home game but online in a horse tournament in like an hour from now. So that's amazing. Oh, you could hear it, so it's probably just me then.
Yeah, I think it's. Oh, holy shit!
He just went for round 3. Dear God, you're gonna have to go win another tournament, Big Kev.
Here we go, Big Kev. Thank you so much, buddy. Here we go. One more. No whammies. Stop. No whammies. No whammies. Big Kev. Big. Here we go, Big Kev. Hercules. Spin again. That's anticlimactic. I gotta take the spin again off the wheel.
I know, you were jumping and dancing and shit, and then go to spin again. It's no good.
Spin again. Say, everyone drink. Okay. So if you have a drink, I don't care what it is, whether it be coffee, water,
or if you have technical difficulties, if you don't.
Right, exactly. Or if you have technical difficulties, something to puff, pour it or light it right now. And here we go. And Big Kev's wishing you some luck, and I gotta thank Big Kev. He's always supporting us creators with these super chats, and it means a lot, so much to me, man. Really, like I can't say enough. You know, I don't want to pander too much, but the super chats really help me right now more than ever. Now that I'm on my own, trying to just even keep the internet going, so I appreciate it. Okay, so see, Matt, it's tough to stop right now. I just I
know you're on a roll. You're making
replace spin again with a show for me to recap. See, Jay, one thing I want to kind of switch about the wheel is I don't want to have anything on the wheel anymore that I have to put off. Like, basically what I'm going to switch to the wheel, and I'm all for doing requests and doing whole shows. Like, you've made one for years, and I'm going to fucking do that. And I'll make sure I get you on, and we'll get your voice on the show as well, Young Justice, when I get to that. But I want to start getting things on the wheel that I have to do right in the moment, and there's no fucking questions. Like not just say, do a review in the future. And I know people don't want to see just a short review, but Phil, do a short review right now of this thing you've seen. If I haven't seen it, then I have to give you another spin. Because I don't want to put things off anymore for the wheel stuff. I want you guys to get instant gratification on, like, right in the moment, get what you want. So, Phil, do a 30-second review of Night Court. I'm not interested in that example. So.
Phil, please do not do a 30-second review of Night Court.
I won't. Don't worry about it.
Do us all a favor.
Were you not a fan of Night Court?
No. Huge fan.
I think it's one of the sitcoms of that age that holds up the best, actually, when you rewatch it.
Harry Anderson, was that his name?
Yeah, Harry Anderson. But yes, Big Kev, thank you so much, and congratulations on your poker tournament. I'll let Matt go pretty soon here because I know he has to get ready for his horse tournament. Explain to me horse a little bit. That's a different game every round?
You could set it up every round, every 2 rounds. Yeah, they never do a horse tournament. I think he's done 2 in the whole time I've been playing the game. So it's a round of it's all limit. It's a round of Hold'em, round of Omaha, round of Omaha high-low, a round of Raz, a round of Stud, and then a round of Stud 8 or better.
Ooh, Corey.
So it's the H. Hold'em, Omaha, Raz, Stud 8 or better.
Okay, Corey Mitchell, and what I need to do is I need to get a clock with the right amount of time, like something that ticks off a certain amount of time or something. But you said review WrestleMania. Okay, here we go.
And then he followed it up with review Screech's Porn, which would be amazing. Again, please don't.
Please don't do that. WrestleMania 1 was a really great event. You started off, one of the biggest moments that gets forgotten about is the Andre the Giant Big John Studd body slam off. Someone needed to, Big John Studd said no one could body slam me, and out of nowhere came Andre the Giant. And I know a lot of attention gets put to the Mr. T and Cyndi Lauper-ness of it all in WrestleMania 1 to kind of push that off, but really the selling point at the time in my memory was all about that Andre the Giant slam. Can anyone slam Big John Studd? But also on top of that, you had a couple of other random matches, but the main match and the main thing that gets remembered for WrestleMania 1 was, of course, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. And I think that match alone, and Cyndi Lauper being a part of it because of Captain Lou and her and the video and all of that, which eventually led to Captain Lou being Super Mario even, and in wrestling having a Saturday morning cartoon and Hulkamania being running wild on you, brother, and having all of that fucking shit happen came from that first initial WrestleMania. So I think that first WrestleMania, the best aspect of it for me was, I don't feel like it was as good as some of the later WrestleManias that you got into, but that first one had some interesting matches and some fun setup. So I like the first WrestleMania.
Real quick tag on that, but we're not keeping this long. The other thing that's important about WrestleMania, and you learn this, you watched the Andre the Giant documentary,
yes,
I'm sure.
I did.
One thing that we forget about, because you and I grew up in a time when WrestleMania was national, that it was always a local thing. So WrestleMania was probably the very first, not just national event, but must-see TV pay-per-view. Because before that, wrestling was all local. Before
yep.
That's the first of those of something.
And that's how Vince really, honestly, we should do a wrestling podcast. That's how Vince really sort of controlled the action. Is he was the first one to make it national, because wrestling in that time period, when it was the WWF, it was the Northeast region. And then when Vince Jr. took over from Vince Sr., he really wanted to push it into another direction. Big Kev says, is it a home game? Online, how much?
Yeah, I know. Why don't you keep reading what Big Kev put? Because he just got another donation.
Big Kev wants in the home game. Big Kev wants to take all your money.
Big Kev, it's tiny. It's like $25-$30 for this. It's a couple nights a week. It's through Poker Stars.
We all do that. You'd set up a private home game and then you use Play Money.
Venmo, and you Venmo back and forth. It's nothing. There'll probably only be 5 people that even play it because most of the people don't know how to play horse. So I love it. I actually won the other 2 horses.
So we got a few more super chats we have to get to, and I know Matt needs to run pretty soon. We'll try to get off.
Yeah.
We'll try to get off here in the next 5.
I didn't want to ignore Big Kev though. He gave a lot of donations. He needed to get that.
So review Screech's porno like you're a WrestleMania, and then Screech bends her over. It's the immovable object meets the irresistible force in the middle of the ring.
No, please no.
And then Screech, oh boy, he's got Lisa Turtle in the position. He's got her in the turtle position. Oh no.
That's
okay.
So awful.
And I will get up and do this spin in a second here. You need to watch Young Rock. It's all about growing up. I've kind of wanted to check out the Young Rock series. It looks a little bit like Everyone Hates Chris, which I enjoyed in Wonder Years / thing, and I think that sounds really interesting. Cam says, "Hey, Issues guy, thank you for the laughs." It seems like everyone's showing up here after we're done with the Sopranos episode, which is awesome.
I know.
But I know Matt needs to go by 8. I will. Can you stay till 8, Matt? And you can tell me no, fuck off.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not till 8:30, so I'm good.
Oh, cool. So perfect. We'll get Matt out of here at about 8. We'll be on for about another 15 minutes, taking some of your questions and comments. Fernandez T, gabagool. Fernandez T, thank you so much. Amazing. And Cam, thank you for the laughs, bro. And I owe you guys 2 super chat spins of the wheel. You guys are amazing. As I mentioned earlier, these super chats mean more to me than you can fucking know. Let's get spinning, Matt.
Fernandez, to answer your question, it's capicola, which is a type of ham. In the northeast of the U.S., Italians call it gabagool. It's the only place they call it that.
Spin of the wheel. I gotta do 10 push-ups. Oh my god. Here we go, Matt. Let's count them out. Hey.
I can't see you doing them, but go ahead.
2,
1,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love vodka push-ups. They're easy. Okay, one more spin for Cam. I need to move the wheel closer. Here we go. Spin the wheel.
Yeah, we need the camera to see those push-ups too.
Yeah, I need to get a secondary camera for that. Otherwise, okay, here we go. Now, Cam, I'm moving the wheel closer just in case we're lucky enough to get any other super chats. Cam, what you won is I propose this, my headphones being like this as the evidence I did the push-ups. Cam, you can have me review anything you want in 30 seconds. You can pick anything ridiculous. We just did a WrestleMania or Screech's porno. Pick anything you want, and if I've seen it, I will review it in 30 seconds here, or I will take a shot if I haven't seen it. That's the contest here. If I haven't, and I'm on the verge of being very drunk, so this could be funny. What is up, Fernandez? Teach. Yeah. Great to have Fernandez and see you over here. Thank you so much for the support, buddy. You are amazing. Screech would have been proud of those push-ups. Yes, he would have. Wasn't there a celebrity boxing match that was Screech versus Danny Bonaducci?
Probably.
Did that happen?
He was like Danny Bonaducci. He was scraping the barrel at the end.
Holy shit. Fernandez T just...
Phil, you're absolutely trashed already.
I'm getting there. I am, but that's the thing. Tomorrow
these shots haven't kicked in yet. I mean, those push-ups are definitely going to get the blood circulating too. That's going to make it worse.
Now I have the wheel next to me, so I don't have to move. Here we go. Let's spin the wheel one more time for Fernandez T. Let's see about spin the wheel. Fernandez T, you are amazing. Fernandez, spin again. Here we go. Spin again. That was an anticlimactic right there. Oh, Cam says, fuck it. He just wants me to take a shot. Okay. It says Joe drink, which means the co-host drinks, which means Matt, take a giant hit. Take a hit of your little low flow pen over
Very
there.
big technical difficulties.
Very big technical difficulties. And Cam says, fuck you, Phil. I don't want to hear you 30-second review something. Take another shot, you drunk bastard. And And yes, so there you go, Fernandez T. He drinks. This is another toast to you, Fernandez T, and you, Cam Cam. Mm-mm-mm. Big Kev. Corey Mitchell says, speaking of wrestling, Screech was in Hulk Hogan's celebrity wrestling training to be a wrestler. He was pretty good heel. I could see Screech being a good heel. I could see him pulling him off. Did you ever at any point in time, Matt, and I guess for the next 9 minutes we're going to talk a little wrestling, I guess. Did you ever at a point in time want to be a wrestler?
Oh, when I was a kid, yeah.
Do you...
Remember, Phil, you tell
Oh,
people,
King Kong Kane.
When I first met you, I told you my name was King Kong Kane because, like, we used to wrestle with wrestling names in Lynn before I moved to.
Yeah, you brought me to that. You brought me to. Excuse me. It was like a cabin area that was filled with all these little mini wrestling rings, and you said all the kids called you King Kong Kane.
Sure, I like again. You tell me that, and I'm embarrassed, but I definitely. Like,
you can't deny it. Like it's not like you could be like,
right,
oh,
well,
I
exactly.
didn't do
like,
that.
You didn't make up King Kong Kane. That certainly was my name when I wrestled with my friends when I was like in 3rd grade. But yeah, like before I moved to our town, did I use that name? So you definitely didn't make that up. But.
I feel like even though you took a drink for me, I feel like I owe Fernandez T one more little drink. Now, Matt, have you watched any? Do you watch like MCU movies? Have you watched like the Avengers movies and all that sort of shit?
I don't want to talk about it because the answer is no, and it's depressing. It's because I don't watch movies really without my wife, and she wants no part of it.
No, it's not
depressing. I never watched Game of Thrones.
It's not depressing. Would you have interest in that stuff if Mrs. Matt was
I've
more into
seen
it?
one of the Avengers movies, and I didn't love it. There are movies in there I would really like, I think.
Oh no, Cam, you don't have to apologize. That the whole thing is you Fernandez and Big Kev are doing me a fucking favor, so it is all on you guys. What you want, if you want me to take a drink, or you can't come up with something, like, I don't mean to put you on the spot or anything. I just mean to give you a little gift for being so awesome to me and giving me the gift of being able to keep doing this. So I do appreciate that. What did I think about Eastbound and Bound? I actually haven't seen that yet. I watched Vice Principals recently, and I really, really loved it. And I know it's made by there's some creative elements similar to it. So it's a show that I keep meaning to watch. But I think Danny McBride is fucking hilarious. So I don't see why I wouldn't.
It's the perfect role for Danny McBride. He's like
you've seen it?
I saw 2 or 3 episodes, and there's so many of those shows where I watched like half a season, loved it, and then just you don't have time to watch it and you just stop watching it. It's like The League. I was like that with too. It's hilarious, but I just never finished watching it.
The League, is that all about celebrity?
It's all about fantasy
football.
It's hilarious. It's like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The show was absolutely hilarious. I've never watched it. I've seen a dozen episodes in my life of that.
I know this is where I'm gonna lose people, because I feel the same way about Always Sunny. I loved every episode I've been fortunate enough to see, but I've never sat down and binged it for whatever reason. And I feel the same way about, I know a show that you're a huge fan of, Rick and Morty. I've sat down and watched episodes of it, and I love everything I've seen, but I haven't sat down to binge it yet. I know, and I know it's awesome. I know I'm gonna like it when I finally do, but I haven't watched it. Could you give a little quick review of Rick and Morty, or what your opinion of Rick and Morty are?
Me?
Yeah.
There's certain episodes of Rick and Morty which is some of the best television I've ever seen. There's certain times where they present these just absolute parodies of, you're into sci-fi.
Oh yeah, of course.
They do parodies of sci-fi that are so well done, and they also just do their own almost original sci-fi. I'm not into sci-fi enough to know if some of the ideas are original or not, but they execute them so perfectly. They don't dumb it down at all. They just this is the way this universe works without any explanations. You just they expect you to be quick enough to keep up with the rules they created for it. There are a few episodes of that are absolutely brilliant, and the sci-fi part of it is absolutely brilliant, and it's hilarious.
Nice.
There's certain episodes I can tell you to watch that you would think of the best.
Now, is it a show that I should binge, or should I selectively watch episodes?
You should watch them in order.
Is it important to watch the show? Is it important to watch the show in order?
You don't want to watch later. There's just reference to characters because it's done at such a high level, and there's not a lot of referring back to as far as hey, let's recap so-and-so's backstory. You almost kind of have to know the backstory of a character that you saw once a season before.
Okay, so
You know what I mean? Like,
I'll
they were
watch.
part-
I'll
so you
watch
should watch an episode. It's really it's yeah.
now.
Give the first. I'd say the first 2 episodes are the weakest. It definitely gets better. From there.
Now, Corey said Justin Roiland, the American voice actor, writer, producer, and director, best known as the co-creator of Rick and Morty, is amazing. And Big Kev towards Eastbound and Down says, dude, you're missing out. My mullet looks just like that now. Yeah, see, Rick and Morty and Eastbound and Down is another one of those shows that I've heard nothing but great things about, and I just haven't had an opportunity to watch it. Jay says, does Matt only watch stuff with his wife because he doesn't want to watch things without her, or will she get mad if he watches things without her?
Oh, no. So listen, I just don't really. I'll watch the same stupid TV shows I've seen a million times. My wife, like, I just have commitment issues with it.
You have trouble giving. It took me a year and a half to get you to watch Breaking Bad, telling you you'll actually like it.
And it's actually a funny story because the night you finally convinced me to watch it, I went home to tell my wife that I was going to watch it, and she had just started watching 2 episodes. And we've been talking about it for years. No, my wife has watched a million other shows that I haven't watched. She'd rather have me watch it without her. She's right now probably watching 6 TV shows. She watches all these weird British dramas and shit that I have no interest
She's
in.
got like the Richie Rich television on with like the split screen.
She's watching like 4 or 5 shows at a time. No, she doesn't care what I watch. I just don't.
For you to get into a show, you need her to kind of pull you or someone else to pull you.
There would be like she stopped watching Rick and Morty, but having said that, I did too. But I will watch it again at some point. Has there been a show in recent years that you've watched that if she hasn't liked, you've continued watching? Like but that's partially because
if she didn't like Cobra Kai, would you have continued to watch it?
Yes, I would have kept watching Cobra Kai.
Like if she had been like, this isn't for me. I didn't watch the Karate Kid movies.
Which is what she was after the first episode. But then by this, when he throws the inhaler aside and he goes, "Not anymore, you're not." Like at that point, she's like, "Yeah, I'm all in."
I don't have patience for things like
for peanut allergies
and asthma, for bullshit things like peanut allergies and asthma.
I have asthma. Not anymore.
Not anymore. I might be on the spectrum. Well, I don't know what that is, but get off it.
Yeah, right. Get off it. You don't want people to call you lip and stop having a weird lip.
Stop having a weird.
She gets to that, it's she was all in at that point.
That was a great moment too. If you want people to stop calling you lip, then don't have a weird fucking lip.
Right.
Oh, fucking Big Kev, you're fucking incredible. Thank you for feeding my dog this month. You're seriously, or 3 months from now when I finally get it.
That's a perfect example, Big Kev. I have not watched South Park.
You're missing out.
In 15 years.
Oh, it's still great.
But if I watched it, it would be amazing. I know that.
It's so good. Like, so you don't know what member berries are?
No clue.
Member, they're these little berries that they're from a couple seasons ago, where like whenever anyone is pontificating about the past, they're like berries that you eat them and they feel nostalgic. It's like member, and they're creepy. They look like grapes that are with like mouths that are talking.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Member, you guys.
But that's what I'm saying. It would be amazing.
Yeah, no, it's good.
That's a perfect example of a show that if I watched it with. The other one you mentioned before, Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't watch it, but like if I did, it would. You would
enjoy. I know you enjoy Seinfeld. You would enjoy the continuing.
I do, but as I get older, I can't handle as like awkward the way I used to. I can't handle Borat.
Okay, if you can't handle
awkward, the new Borat movie.
If you can't handle awkward, Curb might be tough. But Big Kev, to answer your super chat, and I'll get up I don't have to get up. I'll spin the wheel again for you. Thank you so much for that super chat, Kev. It means a lot. My quick thoughts on that episode. I loved it. My only problem with the South Park pandemic episode is that all the South Park we got that season? We only got that particular episode. It was great. I would have wanted to see more. It almost Phil drink again. Holy shit. Everything
you've rigged it at this point.
I've rigged the wheel. It's true. I'm just glad it wasn't push-ups again. That would be like the bloodstream. That would be bad.
Phil, I'm finding an episode, by the way, for you to watch of Rick and Morty.
Oh, please do. Send it to me. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fucking hilarious. I'm one of those people that, for whatever it's worth, Trey Parker to me is one of the funniest people on earth, both with music, possibly because of his musical ability. The fact that, like, you watch Cannibal the Musical, you listen to Team America, the songs that go with it, the South Park songs that connect with everything, all the Faith Plus One songs, the Gay Fish song, like all that stuff, all the music that comes with it is, I feel like he is the best comedic songwriter this generation, besides someone like Weird Al or something, but from like an Adam Sandler, I would put in that list too, like of like these guys that just write funny music, or Flight of the Conchords. Like Trey Parker is in that discussion with those guys. Maybe you should take Phil Drinks off the wheel. Maybe, Jay.
Corey, I'm going to recommend an episode to him. If you're still here, tell me if you think this is a good one for him to start at, like a really good Rick and Morty, the Meeseeks episode. It's one of the first early ones. It's like the 5th episode.
So is the thing with it, it's Back to the Future? It's Martin?
Nah, it's not.
Doc and Marty?
No, they go everywhere. It's Phil, the thing that's so brilliant about the show, and again, if Corey's here, back me up on this.
Did you like Futurama?
When I've watched it, I've enjoyed it. The thing that's brilliant about it is they go in so many different directions. There's not a universe that they live in. They're literally multiversing to completely different realities almost all the time. So it's not Rick and Morty. It's not Back to the Future where they're going back and forth in time. They're going to different universes with different rules and different creatures, and they're crushing it in every one of them.
Is each episode a reset, or is the universe continual? Like, is everything connected?
Oh, you never know.
Okay, so there can be one-off episodes.
And this has happened in many episodes. There's a Hall of Ricks where literally there's an infinite number of Ricks that exist in the multiverse, one in each universe. And so many times throughout the course of the show, they like have to replace other Ricks in different universes, or they get killed or something, that you have no idea at what point if the ones you're watching or the whole family is even the same original one anymore.
Interesting. Jay would said I would start with the first episode and keep going. Rick Morty is fucking awesome. I add the fucking. That is awesome.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. But if
I hear
episode, I think is episode 5.
Matt knows me well enough to know that for me, I need to sample. I probably would want to sample a great episode that would inspire me to want to start from the beginning. So I think Meeseeks and Destroy is nothing's going to be
episodes where I said, "Holy shit, this is amazing."
Is it one of those shows where by seeing that I'm going to be spoiled by anything?
No, they're all, especially in the beginning, it's all different universes.
Then,
I don't think that's going to ruin anything.
Then send it.
And it's not too far into it. It's only episode 5. It's the 5th episode.
And Corey says there's a ton of Easter eggs in that. There's an infinite number of Mortys, says Jay. Awesome.
No, that's what I was just telling you. Yeah, there literally is an infinite number of Mortys.
Is the show off air now, or is there like another season coming?
Well, the season 4 is what's on right now. I'm trying to think where the hell.
Is it worth me catching up? Right? Is it worth me catching up so we can do recaps of it?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing right now. They signed some ridiculous deal to make like 10 or 15 seasons or something ridiculous like that. So they're going to keep making it, but it got screwed up with COVID.
Is it a show you would like to like? Okay, cool. So let me see if I can catch up. Maybe when they have new episodes, you and I can come out here for a side podcast and talk about some episodes.
Not only that, I'll tell you this. I know they're like I haven't even watched the second half of season 4, which is what they're in.
Jake says, "I'm not opposed to the multiverse, but the infinite universe is dumb."
Okay. Yeah, no, these are definitely multiverses because they all exist at the same time.
Yeah. And Matt's talking around it because he doesn't want to spoil anything for me. But I can't wait. I'm excited. It's a show that I've been saving for sort of I could call them like rainy day shows. When you're sick or you need something that you know is going to be awesome when you have an extended amount of time, like I like to kind of save some of those shows in my quiver to shoot when I need to. And that's always been one. But if I have an excuse to catch up, then I will. And if eventually when there's new episodes, you might want to talk about them and stuff, that's kind of an excuse to catch up and want to talk about it.
Yeah, and he's saying to do recaps. Definitely have technical difficulties, and definitely understand that the pilot is like every other pilot. Like, that's as rough as the show ever gets. It only gets better.
Oh yeah, I know that kind of stuff. For me with animation, comes a lot down to the voices. I was talking a little bit about this on one of Tony's streams, but I think with anything, for me, it comes down to sound. If video is poor, I can sort of deal with it, but if I don't like the voices or something, that's the problem. So I think as long as and I've heard the voices before and I dig them and stuff, so I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, it's again
for a show theme, it's fine. I was referring to the
lowbrow humor in the world. There's lots of like belching and farting, but it's also the smartest like sci-fi that you could come up with in a cartoon.
Recap the
I think
death.
You'll enjoy it.
And this we'll end things here in a minute. Here, recap the death of Superman. It's on HBO Max. Is that an animated movie that deals with the Doomsday fight and then the rise of the three different Supermans, like with Steel, Superboy, and the other one, and all that? To kind of deal with that. This is like the rise and fall of the Superman. Jake Cruz, to add to what he was saying about the multiverse thing in the Infinity Verse. For a show's theme, it's fine. I'm referring to the actual theory. Yeah. And there's so many. I think I've looked up multiverse too much because I'm watching this show WandaVision, that I'm starting to get those weird ad suggestions where I'm getting like every article about Harvard scientist proves that there's really a multiverse, or that we're all in a simulate. Like I get those articles thrown at me like every fucking day. Anyways, Matt, I know you got to get ready for your poker game.
Oh yeah, now I do have to actually go. All right.
Everyone, thank you so much. Sorry for the false ends here, but thank you so much to the super chat for keeping us going.
It wouldn't stop donating, Phil. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. If people donate, I can't stop. Like if we got another donation right now, I'd be like, Matt, just go.
I'm really going though. I'm not.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like if
someone may do it now just to get me the hell out of here. It'd be perfect for you.
Exactly. Like we want to keep Phil talking, but
yeah. But
Phil,
you can leave.
Phil's almost passed out here. We got to get a couple more drinks in him to see where this goes. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. And we had a really fun time at the end conversation here. Thank you so much to our Super Chat donators. As I've mentioned many times, it means so much to me. You can find all the links in the description box below to find us everywhere and find all that kind of crap. I'm going to start posting audio podcasts again, so make sure you subscribe on Podbean or iTunes to get all the Issues podcasts. I'm waiting for WandaVision has finished all, but that's smart, Jay, to kind of binge watch the whole thing. Matt, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.
Focus on getting us off the air.
Oh, Matt, you can actually, I'll let you go so I can say goodbye forever. Matt, thank you so much. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Oh, I'm leaving now? All right, goodbye.
If you